It is the first day of June 2022, a day when Kenya marks 59 years of self-rule. I hope you had yourself a good Madaraka Day. Thank you for choosing Hope TV, where you look and live. I'm Tess Njenga, and our sign language interpreter is Boniface Murithi. We're also streaming live on our social media platforms at Hope TV Kenya on Facebook and Twitter. Let us get you briefed on the day's events. President Uhuru Kenyatta has led the country in celebrating the 59th Madaraka Day celebrations at Uhuru Gardens in Nairobi. This was also his last Madaraka celebration as the head of state before his term comes to an end after the August 9th general elections. While giving his speech, President Kenyatta took time to celebrate his legacy in the past 10 years, reiterating that his administration has set the bar higher and has built more roads than the last three regimes. The head of state also defended loans taken by his administration, saying they have helped accelerate development in the country. As Kennedy Kimani now reports, Deputy President William Ruto was, however, not accorded the chance to make his speech, which was unusual in national events, with many terming it as a deliberate move by President Kenyatta.
In his last Madaraka Day celebration as the head of state at the Uhuru Gardens in Nairobi, President Uhuru Kenyatta took the time to celebrate his legacy in the past 10 years, describing infrastructure development and healthcare reforms as some of his major gains in his administration, adding that his government has set the bar higher than the previous three regimes.
Without infrastructure, there is no way of finding new possibilities. And that is why we made it one of our big push investments. When my administration took over the helm of leadership, we knew we had only a maximum of 2 terms to accomplish a very ambitious agenda. And the challenge was that the bar set by my predecessor, the late President Mwai Kibaki, was a high one. To face this challenge, we had to first embrace what previous administrations had done and accelerate their achievements. That was part of the big push. Today, I am proud to record that if the third Kenyan administration built 2,000 kilometers of tarmac road, we accelerated this achievement by building over 11,000 kilometers, which is close to 6 times what they built.
The head of state also passionately defended the loans taken by his administration during his tenure, saying that the loans help accelerate development in the country.
Naysayers have said that we should not invest so heavily in infrastructure because people do not eat roads, they do not eat bridges. I have refused their pessimism because I know what a new road means to a farmer who has for decades been unable to get their produce quickly to the market. I refuse to delay the dream of world-class ports and fishing support infrastructure because we wanted our fishermen in our oceans and lakes to be able to gain more from their sweat of their brow.
Differences between President Uhuru Kenyatta and his deputy William Ruto, however, played out during the event, as the second-in-command was not given a chance to make his speech, as is usually the tradition in national events. President Kenyatta went further and indirectly endorsed the Raila Karua presidential ticket by stating in his speech that Kenya will make history in August by electing a female deputy president.
Today, and thanks to the 2010 Constitution and my commitment to equality and inclusivity, I have had the pleasure of working with 11 women in my cabinet at different times and in different capacities. All of them have occupied high-profile portfolios, and in fact, all the cabinet secretaries for foreign affairs for the last 9 years of my term have been women, and we have seen how they have placed our country globally. In August of this year, if it is the wish of the Kenyan electorate, we have a chance of electing a woman and shattering the glass ceiling by assuming the second highest office in the Republic of Kenya. So, ladies and gentlemen, if our women were part of the liberation struggle, advancing their cause intentionally is a duty that belongs to all of us. We owe it to them, we owe it to ourselves, and we owe it to our country.
Kennedy Kimani, Hope TV Newswatch, Nairobi.
Thank you, Kennedy, for that report. Pomp and color marked the 59th Madaraka Day celebrations held in Nairobi at the newly commissioned Uhuru Gardens for the first time. From as early as 6 a.m. when the gardens gates were opened, Kenyans from all walks of life made their way to the venue to witness the occasion. The occasion is considered to be special as it was President Uhuru Kenyatta's last Madaraka celebrations while in office. Dolly Murigi tells us more.
Members of the public eager for the 59th Madaraka celebration, which was President Kenyatta's last Madaraka celebration in his tenure, started arriving at dawn, with some accompanied by the children. Security was tight as the military lined outside the gardens. Military tanks were paraded outside, which would later be driven inside the arena. President Uhuru Kenyatta's convoy left the State House to Uhuru Gardens at around 10:45 a.m., arriving at the venue at around 11:15 a.m. Dressed in a black suit and red tie, President Uhuru Kenyatta entered his ceremonial open Land Rover, waved to the crowd that chanted welcoming messages. He was taken around the arena while being escorted by the presidential motorcade for the last time in his presidency. After the national anthem and the East African anthem were sung, he proceeded and inspected his last guard of honor for 10 minutes, where he walked majestically passing the military. Other dais where President and other guests sat had white, green and red and black decoration representing the colors of the Kenyan flag. Reds of white and red flowers were placed at the floor of the dais on the side of the presidential red carpets. Kenyans were treated to a refreshing performance from a long list of artists booked for the events praising President Kenyatta's tenure. The estimated 30,000 guests attending the events also received top-notch entertainment from various traditional and modern artists, all sending a message of promoting peace as the country gears towards August 9th general election. Preparation for the event had meticulously been done, with Interior PS Karanja Kibichu having conducted several inspections at the venue that hosted 30,000 people.
Helikopta za mashambulizi aina ya Fennec.
Dolly Mirigi, Hope TV, Nairobi.
Thanks, Dolly. The Kenya Defence Forces KDF stole the show during the 59th National Madaraka Day celebrations, which were led by Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, President Uhuru Kenyatta, at the Uhuru Gardens today. The military displayed their weapons, boasting of their weaponry in their duty to defend Kenyan borders. Dickens Luvanda brings us this report.
The Kenya Defence Forces KDF, which is the armed forces of the Republic of Kenya, made up of the Kenya Army, Kenya Navy and the Kenya Air Force, has always been praised by its leader, President Uhuru Kenyatta, the Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces. As Kenyans converge at the Uhuru Gardens to mark Kenya's 59th Madaraka Day celebrations, the last national event that President Kenyatta led as he heads to retirement after a two-term 10-year rule since 2013, the military stole the show. Just after the president inspected the guard of honor mounted by the KDF soldiers as usual, it was a show of might as the military displayed the military might during the Madaraka Day parade in an event where Sierra Leone President Julius Maada Bio was the chief guest.
Nchi kavu chini yake Major Stephen Nyamboga.
In the extended military parade, which has been seen as a special way of bidding farewell to the head of state, the KDF showcased sophisticated weapons including military vehicles, leaving Kenyans amazed. From the border patrol unit with their armored vehicles to the Engineers Brigade, who showcased their water hole drilling machines, excavators and bulldozers. Some of the military weapons exhibited include armored personnel carriers and 81mm mortars by the infantry, machine guns from the Army Special Operations Brigade. The KDF Armored Brigade also displayed their reconnaissance vehicles and main battle tanks, while their counterparts in the Artillery Brigade treated Kenyans to display of their weapons, with the Kenya Navy also giving a rare glimpse into their world, with military boats atop flatbed trailers.
Ndege aina ya Dash 8 hubeba abiria mashuhuri na pia wanajeshi kutoka sehemu moja hadi nyingine.
The Kenya Air Force brought their Globe, Harbin Y-12, PZL M28 Skytrack, Dash 8, and Alenia C-27J Spartan aircrafts, among others. In his speech to the country, President Kenyatta commended the disciplined forces, saying they have been faithful to his administration and the people of Kenya at large.
My administration has also fast-tracked the promotion of women in leadership in our security sector. I appointed Fatuma Ahmed as the first woman Major General of our Defense Forces in 2018.
The government spent an estimated 70 million shillings to organize the 59th Madaraka Day celebrations, which saw 30,000 people in attendance. Deacon Suvanda, Hope TV Newswatch.
Much appreciated, Deacon. Still on the celebrations, President Uhuru Kenyatta has defended the competency-based curriculum, CBC, saying the curriculum is valuable to the country. Speaking during the Madaraka Day celebrations, President Kenyatta said the 844 curriculum has over time become inconsistent with the vision and the goals of the country, pushing the government to come up with a system that will churn responsible citizens.
We have also secured a 100% transition from primary to secondary education, ensuring that no Kenyan child is left behind. We have also achieved Africa's first 1-to-1 child-to-book ratio and restored the integrity of our national exams. In regard to higher education, we live in a time when knowledge is placing other resources as the main driver of economic growth, and thus education has increasingly become the foundation of a greater individual prosperity. Our universities continue to incubate innovations and to prepare the next generation of leaders who are technically proficient and knowledgeable. Talents continue to be nurtured, and a workforce that is globally competitive is, with each passing year, transitioning from our institutions of higher learning into prominent positions locally and abroad.
Meanwhile, cabinet secretaries in the Jubilee government have highlighted the achievements that the country has been able to make under the leadership of President Uhuru Kenyatta through their respective ministries. Speaking on the sidelines of Madaraka Day celebrations, where President Kenyatta also highlighted his achievements, the cabinet secretaries led by Interior CS Dr. Fred Matiang'i praised the Jubilee administration, saying the 10 years have been exciting.
And His Excellency guided, and in the Ministry of Water, we were able to increase the water coverage in our country from 43% to 51%. And we were able to approach support and donors who gave us funds to roll out county water projects and sanitation. It is my time that we were able to bring out sanitation in this country as a critical intervention in our cities because of our rural and our devolution and urbanization of our county towns.
Well, I think carrying out the president's directives, including what was in the manifesto, the WRC bringing it back to the country, building the stadia across the country that we've been able to build, ensuring that our athletes, our best ambassadors, our best representatives outside the country are well catered for, putting them at the center of everything that we do, making sure that we don't have athletes sleeping at the airports, having athletes blocking the streets of Nairobi because they've not been facilitated or they haven't been supported.
In the first term, the focus was on national titling, which was basically to increase the number of Kenyans who have title to land. Between 1963, when we got independence, and 2013, we had recorded 6 million titles. So the president's intention was to increase this number, and I'm happy to report that so far we have 5.6 million of Kenyans, additional Kenyans with title. If you compare, you can see that it's almost matching in just 9 years what was done in 50 years, or more than 50 years actually, because that was even pre-independence.
Strengthening the security of our country and ensuring that we create a level of confidence in our people. The threat of terrorism still exists, but a lot has been done to reform the security sector to a point where we have enhanced capabilities and we are ready for any security challenges. For me, that is one of the best things that have happened. There are many things I would say. I mean, the way we have created the digital data sets, the registration of persons that has improved, the issuance of passports that has improved from 5 or 6 days it used to be in the past, 1 day today, creating about 13 different new sites of issuing passports outside Kenya and in Kenya.
A momentous day indeed, celebrating Jubilee government's achievement. On that note, let's take our first break. We will be back with much more news.
You know we can't forget them. And neither can you. Enjoy all-time classics every Thursday at 11 a.m.
A very warm welcome back. Let's continue. Many Kenyans know little to less about thyroid disease that is currently affecting an estimate of thousands across the country. With the Thyroid Awareness Month in May, patients living with the disease have shared their struggle with the condition and are calling for more awareness. Melissa Oduor narrates the struggles of thyroid disease. This story was produced by Eunice Minor. Take a look.
There's this disease, I've never heard of it, never. I don't know what this is, and I think, oh, it will be gone after 3 months, that's fine.
Thyroid disease patients do not have the same level of energy as that of a normal person.
You are tired, you do not sleep well because your body is always working.
According to the World Health Organization, diseases of the thyroid gland are among the most abundant endocrine disorders worldwide, second only to diabetes. The prevalence ratio of men to women is 1 to 10, meaning more women are likely to get the disease than men. The thyroid is a small butterfly-shaped gland in the front of the neck. It produces a hormone that controls virtually every organ system in the body.
That produces the hormones we call thyroxine. These are hormones made using iodine. You all have heard of iodine that is in our salt. This hormone works in very many ways in all aspects of the human body. It helps in metabolism or gives your body heat. It makes your heart beat in an even rhythm. Thyroxine itself is a hormone that's required for living. Without it, somehow it's going to happen, you will not live for long.
There are two main types of thyroid disease, hyperthyroidism and hypothyroidism, that can affect anyone across all ages. Sarah Katule, a mother of one, was diagnosed with hyperthyroidism in 2011 following the birth of her now 10-year-old daughter.
Taking her to the clinic, because of the symptoms, I passed out on my way to the clinic. And then after that, I had gone to see the doctor quite a number of times, and they were not able to diagnose what was going on with me. After that is when he was able to diagnose me with hyperthyroidism.
Dr. Paul Ngugi is an endocrinologist or thyroid specialist in Nairobi. He says hyperthyroidism occurs when the body makes too much thyroid hormone.
And the thyroid gland or thyroxine overproduction goes in various ways. First, there is what we call, in our language, autoimmune diseases. And the autoimmune diseases means that your body develops antibodies. Now, in Graves' disease, the antibody stimulates the thyroid gland to overproduce. In this situation, patients get very hot. They are not able to tolerate heat. The heart beats very fast. They are restless, and their eyes pop out. We have seen people with eyes that are popped out, a very serious complication of thyroid disease.
If you look at one of my eyes, one of them is bulged out. It started swelling.
Hyperthyroidism symptoms can be discomforting, disabling, or even life-threatening.
I would eat, go to the washroom, remove it, come back, feel hungry again, and eat and go to the washroom. My skin became really pale and dull, and I had this, they call heart palpitations, or where your heart is beating really fast. I was sweating, I was shaking, I was having anxiety, too emotional.
You do not sleep well because your body is always working. And even if you sleep, you wake up very tired.
Hypothyroidism, or an underactive thyroid, occurs when the thyroid gland creates less than the normal amount of thyroid hormone.
And how does it go down? One, you may have been operated and the thyroid gland was removed completely inadvertently. Two, the thyroid may have been maybe a cancerous growth in the thyroid. And hypo can also come from, again, antibodies. Instead of stimulating, this time they destroy the thyroid gland. And this comes over time, and there are diseases that maybe your viewers may have heard of, called Hashimoto's, thyroiditis, where the autoimmune reaction destroys the thyroid gland. Hashimoto, if you see it in good time, you want to control the antibodies. So you give drugs like steroids and other drugs that control immune reaction.
Jackie Gashoka, who is in her 30s, has been living with hypothyroidism for the last 7 years.
My son was born in 2014, October, and then the next year, which was 2015, around March, I started noticing changes with my body. I remember I was around 55, and in a span of, I think, 3-4 months, I gained 10 kilos to 65. I did approach an endocrinologist, and the first thing they did was to check my antibodies. So my hypothyroidism was connected to the Hashimoto's.
This one's gain weight, start gaining weight. But most significantly, they are intolerant to cold. That's when everybody else is wanting to say, open the windows, they want to close the windows, and they want extra blankets. And the gain of weight comes with edema, and they slow down. They are groggy, they sleep a lot, they will have poor memory. This one, the heart rate goes down. It goes down to below 50, and eventually they get into what is called mixed edematous coma. They'll be swollen, puffed up with fluid all over, and they can get into coma when it has not been treated for some time.
Hyperthyroidism and hypothyroidism occurs when the thyroid gland fails to function normally, and the doctor's goal is to return the thyroid hormone levels back to normal. The treatment depends on the cause of the patient's thyroid condition.
To treat hypo is very easy, unless the patient comes in coma, because you're giving thyroxine. So it's just 1 tab a day, or 1 tab and a half, or 2 tablets. But it's what viewers should know is that these drugs are taken throughout your lifetime. It's not taken 1 week, because it has very few symptoms, and people have this tendency of taking it for 1 month or 2 months when they're feeling all the good and they're told that results are normal, they stop. That's not very wise, because you get complications from the thyroid slowly. And by the time you get sick again, so that you go to the doctor, your heart is damaged and you are in a lot of trouble.
My medication has remained the same all through. For the 7 years, I've been on 50 mcg.
Hyperthyroidism, also known as overactive thyroid, has 3 main treatment options, and removing the thyroid through surgery is one of the options.
Most people will get their disease remission or the disease going down maybe in 2 years' time. So you are going to take your medicine for the 2 years. And you have to have it checked. The doctor will regulate your dosage of drugs as you go on until he's able to withdraw it.
Sometimes the drug options may fail and the doctor may opt for surgery.
The doctor that's what is called subtotal thyroidectomy. That means they remove a portion of the thyroid gland and leave a small portion to satisfy your needs for thyroxine. It is important that I underline here, this surgery cannot be rushed. That means the heart rate has been controlled well, and the thyroid levels have also come down appreciably. People have died on the table, so it's risky to go to theater when you're not ready.
He did a partial surgery. He removed half of the part that was swollen and then left the other one for my body to use, and now I'm okay.
Radioactive iodine is another option when the patient is given radioactive iodine to destroy the thyroid gland completely.
When it destroys completely, that means you'll come from hyper and then you go to hypo. This process takes like maybe 10 years, sometimes 20 years. Now when you reach hypo, then you have to take thyroxine now for life.
Living with the thyroid disease comes with its own share of challenges, and according to Sarah and Jackie, more needs to be done.
Every country has its own challenges. Yeah, here in Africa, it is affordability. The cost of treatment, from diagnosis to doing the tests, it is also the lack and the shortage of thyroid specialists or endocrinologists. Most of them are densely populated here in Nairobi. We have patients that have to plan every month to come to Nairobi just to find specialized quality treatment. And I'm like, that shouldn't be happening.
Probably what the Kenyan government or the insurance companies can look into is to helping into at least covering some of these tests that are done, or a consultation or two that could really help people who are suffering with it.
It's public awareness that's important, but also for doctors to be vigilant in testing. You test more often, then you're likely to save a life or improve the quality of life of an individual.
Having a support system goes a long way in dealing with thyroid disease. Sarah Katule is passionate about sending the message that anyone living with thyroid disease is not alone. In 2017, she founded a support group known as the Thyroid Disease Awareness Kenya Foundation, TDAC, whose main purpose is to help create more awareness on thyroid disease.
We create thyroid disease awareness. We empower patients with information that is thyroid related so that they can know where to begin.
So the TDAC group is a safe space for us. We are able to talk. We are able to go into the deep matters that people don't talk about, especially infertility. And so that's a safe space where we get to talk to each other, encourage each other.
There is need to create more awareness on thyroid disease here in Kenya, and according to Dr. Ngugi, if thyroid disease is diagnosed early enough, it will help boost the chances of effective treatment.
We like people to diagnose the diseases pretty early. Where there is family history, I think you need to be routinely be vigilant.
The good news is that the thyroid hormone abnormalities can be managed.
The checkup is important. Even if it's not every month, maybe twice a year or even once a year, but at least do it.
With us, we are on medication for a lifetime, But it's not that it's that bad once you know how to manage it. I'm living a normal life right now.
For now, there is no specific data on how many Kenyans are living with the disease, even as calls for more awareness by the Ministry of Health continue to rise. Reporting for Hope TV News Watch, I'm Melissa Odor.
Much appreciated, Eunice and Melissa, for that story creating awareness on thyroid disease. Moving on to some politics, Deputy President William Ruto has asked Kenyans to choose a path of progress, unity and prosperity since they are responsible for the years ahead. During his campaigns in Kikuyu after the Madaraka Day celebrations, where he was denied the chance to address guests, Ruto urged the residents to write new chapters of prosperity and abundance for all by voting for him. He was accompanied by his Kenya Kwanza counterparts who called out President Uhuru for ignoring his deputy.
But I want to believe that you said what you mean and you meant what you said. That you will be a pacifist, outgoing president who will watch as Kenyans decide who their next leader is. Lakini vile niliona pale, you turned a hallowed national day into an Azimio campaign tool.
Tumeona ile madharau umefanyiwa pale siku ya leo. Na pia tunataka tueleze wale wamefanya hiyo madharau ya kupangua protocol ya mipango ya kiserikali kama Madaraka Day, ya kwamba leo ni siku yenu ya mwisho ya kufanyia mahasla na Wakenya madharau.
Na nimwambie yule mtu wa kitendawili, unaona hawa 11 stars vile wamekubali kushindwa, Raila ajifunze na wao, si ndio?
Kwa hivyo sisi tunasema muendelee hivyo, mshike vizuri. Na serikali ya hasla pia itaangalia ile mambo ya taxation kwa wale sports people ili turekebishe wapate nafasi ya kujiokoa na kuwa na resources za kutosha baada ya michezo yao.
This election is about one thing. It is about the economy. Everything else is a sideshow and everything else is a distraction. This election is about the economy and the people who know what to do about the economy. Our competitors have no track record on anything to do with the economy. They are just politicians. Nyie mnanielewa? So watu wa Kikuyu hapa tumekubaliana. Team ni gani? Team gani?
Religious leaders in Embu have challenged the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission, IEBC, to ensure it delivers a free, fair and credible election during the August polls. The clerics said the poll agency has in the past been in the eye of a storm over disputed elections that have plunged the country into chaos. Speaking on Tuesday during an interdenominational service with political aspirants vying for various seats in the county, the clergy said the electoral body had a chance to redeem its name by ensuring the elections will be authentic. National Council of Churches NCCK Embu County Chairman Bishop Njeru Nyaga implored all the leaders seeking various seats to accept the election outcome so as to maintain peace after the elections. All eyes are on IEBC and Kenyans expect nothing short of free, fair, peaceful and transparent elections. These are the words of ACK Embu Bishop David Mureithi, who said that Kenyans deserve credible results.
Maombi yetu na tumeomba hivi leo ni kwamba waweze kufanya kazi yao kwa njia ambayo ni mwafaka ili kwamba nchi hii iweze kusimama vizuri. Mambo ya uchaguzi ni mambo ya maana sana na ni mambo ambayo watu wa Kenya wanachukulia kwa umuhimu sana. Hakuna haja ya watu kwenda kupiga kura asubuhi na jioni hawawezi kupata kile ambacho walikuwa wanatafuta.
Speaking on Tuesday during an interdenominational service with political aspirants, National Council of Churches NCCK Embu County Chairman Bishop Jeru Nyaga implored on all the leaders seeking various seats in the August 9th elections to accept the election outcome so as to maintain peace. The clerics also urged politicians to cease inciting the youth and the public.
Tukinjua kuna mtu ataincite vijana waende kuharibu na mamare yale ingine, tutaweza kuandika barua pamoja kusema huyu astahili kuwa kiongozi, kwa sababu you cannot incite young people alafu uende uharibu.
Embu gubernatorial aspirant Cecily Mbarire urged the IEBC to be fully prepared and make sure that they give impartial elections to all the leaders in the country.
Kiongozi ambaye ataharibu hata posters za other candidates, kiongozi ambaye anaongea matusi, huyo atakiwi achaguliwe. Na ningetaka kusema hata askofu na wachungaji wakisema mtu kama hiyo asichagulie, wako na haki, kwa sababu mtu ambaye ameleta vita hata kabla aingie kwa ofisi hatasaidia hata kidogo.
Manyata Member of Parliament aspirant Maurice Nyaga welcomed the move by the clerics to recommend barring leaders who will be found inciting the youth and the public from being elected.
Ukiona kiongozi ambaye anapanga vijana walete furugu, hata mimi kama ni kiongozi napanga vijana walete furugu, mimi ningetaka mabishop waambie mimi sifai kusimama na sifai kuchaguliwa.
Full Gospel Churches of Mount Kenya South, Dr. Bishop Samuel Nginyi urged the government to ensure that those politicians that are threatening to form resistance movement in Kenya are dealt with accordingly.
Sisi kama kanisa twapinga hiyo lugha kwa vyovyote vile, na tunaomba kuwe na amani, na kana kwamba vijana, tafadhali msikubali kutumika kufanyika vikundi vipinzani.
0.5 million has been recovered by police in Thika, Kiambu County. The illegal drug weighing 86 kilograms was seized when parked in a vehicle at Kiganjo village on Tuesday by detectives on patrol in collaboration with members of the public. Speaking at Makongeni Police Station, Kiambu County Commander Mushagi Kioi said police have in recent times recovered bang from various stations and warned peddlers to keep away from the vice.
Officers who are on patrol within Kiganjo kwa command area, they got a tip-off from members of public that there was a vehicle which was parked somewhere within Kwakamande with the doors open, and they were suspecting that vehicle was there for some illegal activities. Officers moved in very swiftly and they were able to recover the narcotics and drugs which you are seeing here. The value of the narcotics and drugs is 2.5 million, and you can see and also the weight is 86 kilograms. I would like to thank the officers very, very sincerely for the good work which they are doing, and also remembering that for the last 1 month we have been able to recover quite an amount of bang within this area, and also give a warning to those people who are trafficking this bang, the bang traffickers, the ones who are selling, that we are very much on high alert. And as I said the other day, we do not have any space for wrongdoers in Kiambu, especially the issues of narcotic and drugs, issues of armed robberies. You can as well remember last week we had a very huge recovery of home guns within Kiambu area, which have been terrorizing members of public.
Well, now let's cross our borders. Angolan President João Lourenço has welcomed his Congolese counterpart, Felix Tshisekedi, on Tuesday. Lourenço is acting as a mediator to diffuse the rising tensions between the Democratic Republic of Congo and its neighbor, Rwanda. The Angolan presidency, in a statement, said the officials discussed various aspects that may contribute to the peaceful resolution of their dispute. At the request of his Angolan counterpart, Tshisekedi agreed to release 2 Rwandan soldiers captured recently. The heads of state of the Democratic Republic of Congo and the Republic of Rwanda agreed to participate in a summit at the invitation of the Angolan leader. The meeting will take place in Luanda on a date to be announced. Tensions between the countries had been growing since the resumption in March of fighting between DRC's army and the M23 rebel movement, which according to Kinshasa is backed by Rwanda, a charge denied by Kigali. The tensions peaked with fears the countries may forsake the diplomatic path. Even further afield, U.S. President Joe Biden has announced that it will send Ukraine more advanced rocket systems to help it defend itself. The weapons long requested by Ukraine are to help it strike enemy forces more precisely from a longer distance. Until now, the U.S. had refused the request out of fear the weapons could be used against targets in Russia. Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov said the U.S. was directly and intentionally, adding fuel to the fire with its weapons deliveries to Ukraine. Separately, the German government has promised to send an air defense system to Ukraine. On Tuesday, EU leaders agreed to a deal banning Russian oil imports, adding that they will block most Russian oil imports by the end of 2022 to punish Moscow for invading Ukraine. The EU-wide ban will affect oil that arrives by sea, which is around 2/3 of imports, but not pipeline oil, following opposition from Hungary. Poland and Germany have also pledged to end pipeline imports, meaning a total of 90% of Russian oil will be blocked. On that note, let's take another short break. We will be back with business news. Welcome back. Let's take a look at business. Leading the 59th Madaraka Day celebrations at Uhuru Gardens in Nairobi today, President Uhuru Kenyatta has celebrated his investment in infrastructure, saying that it has facilitated business and particularly farmers transporting their produce. In addition, President Uhuru said his administration accelerated building of tarmac by over 11,000 kilometers, which is close to 6 times what the previous administrations built. Now in sports, European champions Italy will tonight take on their South American counterparts Argentina in the 3rd edition of the Cup of Champions game between the European Championship and Copa America winners, now titled Finalissima, at Wembley Stadium. Italy come into the game on the back of a disappointing run that saw them fail to qualify for the FIFA World Cup 2022. Roberto Mancini's side have won just 2 of their last 6 games, while losing 2, which include a crucial World Cup qualifier tie against North Macedonia earlier this year and a semi-final defeat in the UEFA Nations League last October. Last but not least, KCB women's volleyball team have been crowned the 2022 champions of the Africa Women's Volleyball Club competition in Balkebia, Tunisia, after stunning record holders Al Ahly 3-1 in the final. The bankers, who have been perennial participants in the annual continental event, have been on the imperious form since the beginning of the tournament, beating the Egyptians by sets of 25-18, 25-22, 11-25, and 28-26 to win the prestigious title, which they last won in 2006. The star-studded squad only lost one match in their journey to the finals, with Carthage the only side who beat them in the group stages. The win puts Kenya on the continental map as a giant in volleyball, breaking North America's side dominance that has been in existence for years. The last time a Kenyan team reached the finals was in 2015, when Pipeline lost 3-1 sets to Al Ahly in Cairo, while Kenya Prisons, who finished 5th this year, is the last Kenyan side to win the title in 2013. Well, that concludes Newswatch tonight. Many thanks for watching. I'm Tess Jenga, and our sign language interpreter is Boniface Murithi. Take a look at tomorrow's weather forecast and have a blessed night. See you tomorrow, same place, same time, God willing.